Yeah, I just want to talk about how I went from atheist to theist.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought as an atheist that I had like this perfect worldview that without a God, but so there's still like that what if that like what if God is real? I can never explain away God, and just by coincidence, this one girl that I was attracted to happened to invite me to her church, and I only went because I was attracted to her. I wanted to date her, so I forgot, and they asked for or whatever, and I guess she was kind of inclined or kind of like signaled me to go up there and get saved, and I just didn't really feel like I had a reason not to. I just kind of took a chance, and
Keith, let me interrupt you just for a moment. I just want to let you know that there seems to be like a cyclical thing going on with your phone where you're cutting out like every, I don't know, several seconds or so?
Every several seconds, yeah, it's just
I don't know what it is, but I'm just kind of making you aware. If there's anything on your end that you think might account for that you want to adjust, that would be great. If there's not, then we'll just deal with it. We're catching most of what you say, but I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, it's using one of those apps or something like that.
Okay.
Well, this calls over Wi-Fi.
Okay, well, we're catching most of it, so go ahead.
So you were at the altar call, it sounded like?
Okay.
Yeah. I just kind of like, I kind of felt something, like it was sort of more like a neutral feeling, like, like it could be, like I was sort of like more open to it, and, I got church and, well, the girl moved away, so like, even after she moved, I was still going to church, I was invested into it, but like the day I got baptized, that was the day I felt change, it was kind of like this sort of light just sort of like turned on, and, God was like real to me. Like ask if there's like evidence or proof of, like the only proof that you'll ever experience is like your own personal experience. Everyone that's ever experienced God has their own. So like, like that's real proof that you'll ever discover,
So it's different for each person?
If there's a God. Well, I mean, the experience could be different, but you're experiencing the same.
But how do we know if there's not a consistent experience, then how do we know that this experience is God?
From your own personal experience, like the God that you're experiencing, but it's all the same God.
Right, how would I know that the experience is the source is God?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You'd have to experience it for yourself. I mean, I can.
Right, but there's a lot of people who have that are now atheists. All right, there are a lot of people who have had experiences that they've interpreted as God who are now atheists and say that it was not God. So I guess my question is, how do we confirm, or how would we even have an inkling of the source of this experience? What is it about the experience that makes you believe that it is divine in origin?
For me, it was just the experience. I mean, I've always believed that there was a logical and scientific explanation to sort of explain the things that the Bible talks. I actually got to a point in my life where I sort of reality that felt more real than the reality that I'm in right now. I feel like I experienced God greater than most people have in their whole life.
I guess what I'm asking, though, is how do you know that whatever you're experiencing is divine in origin?
Well, I mean, it's just that. It's just an experience that feels more authentic than that I experience right now. I mean...
So you have an authentic experience, but what makes you think it's divine in origin?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one to explain. I mean, when I experienced it was kind of like a sort of like a signature. Like I knew it was Christ and like no other deity that, anyone else had, thought of.
Could you be wrong?
I mean, another perspective, someone can claim that I'm wrong, and, I could never really, prove that I'm right, but I don't believe that I'm wrong. I believe.
Why do you believe that you're right?
That I am right.
Why do you believe that you're right?
I mean, just because of the experience itself,
but that doesn't help. I mean,
you're not going to know.
But but what I'm saying is there. Wait a minute. A lot of people, and I'm not saying you're one, But there's a lot of people who have the experience that they describe as God, and then years later they become an atheist and they say, yeah, I mean, I thought it was God, but I don't think that anymore. So I guess what I'm saying is, as somebody on the outside of this who sees both things here, so I see some people who say, I had these experiences I interpret as God, and I don't believe that was correct. And then I have somebody saying, I have this experience of God, and I believe I am correct. And so my question is, what about your experience is making you think that this is from a God and not from your own mind?
Well, the experience that I had was something that sort of like filled in the gaps, you know.
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
It's quite a long story to explain, honestly. I mean, on a lot of stuff here, but
okay.
You know,
well, I mean,
if you look at reality,
I'm not going to drag it out.
Really,
can't even really what?
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at reality itself, I mean, you can't really confirm if like that's real or not. Like, you know, like.
Right, but at least I'm confronted with a manifestation. But here's the thing. Like, for example, you can't see me maybe. I don't know if you're watching or if you're just listening. But I'm touching what I would believe would be my glasses, right, that are sitting on my face. Now, right. I don't know quite what that, I can't say that what that really is or is not, but I do know that I perceive like a visual of it, that I can touch it, that, you know, I'm having an experience here, like you're describing an experience, and I am calling this glasses. And I can describe this, and I can show it to other people, and we can, you know, compare those experiences. But what I'm asking you is, you're saying that there's a divine origin to this thing. And so first of all, I don't even know what a divine origin is. But I'm asking you, what makes you think that there's anything divine about it? Like, what information do you have about this God based on this experience? What information has this God provided you that we could, you know, somehow recognize it as not?
You know, I could say that he explained things to me that were, or such as, you know, the origin of the universe itself, which is
God explained the origin of the universe to you. Did I hear that right? Because there is some breakup. Okay, so you think God explained the origin of the universe to you. What did God tell you about it?
Well, it's you know, like, you know, physicists ask the question, how do we get something from nothing or whatever? Well, the thing is actually, it's more of, you know, impossible to get something from nothing. It's easier to go from something to nothing, and so this is more of like a paradox. You know, there is.
Let me ask you a question. I've asked other people this, but I want to ask you this to see what your view is. Can nothing exist?
I mean, can't be observed as unobservable.
If something, I don't even know how to ask. I don't even know how to ask this question. But if it existed, wouldn't it be something?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you observe nothing, then you'd be observing something. Would be unobservable.
Right. So can nothing? Can I don't even know how to ask it. I can't even say can nothing be, because I mean, if it was, it wouldn't be nothing. So I don't even, when people talk about like an absolute sort of nothing, I don't really understand what it is they're describing or even trying to communicate.
Right. Something can't really come from nothing. Something has to come from.
But God told you that it was easier to get from.
You try and trace that back.
But you're saying God told you it was easier to get from something to nothing?
From something to nothing, and then go back from nothing to something, because you can't go from nothing.
How do you even have? How can you even have nothing? Like, I
well, the best way I can explain nothing would be sort of space, or space that's not compressed, because you know the space that we see is compressed. What's outside of our universe? I mean, that's why space is warped in.
So how would we go about verifying what this God told you about universal origins? I mean, have you talked to anybody who's in that field, like reached out and said, does this sound valid?
Well, I mean, you really can't verify it until you but the thing is, like, once you observe nothing, then it'll be kind of, you know, too late.
Well, here's a question, though.
Nothing, where there's absolutely no matter to depend on.
I would recommend that you take this, that you would write down what God told you about the origin of the universe, and that you send that to, and I'm not joking, send it off to like a university where they have a department that has like an astrophysics department. Just say, does this sound valid? And just ask them if what this God has told you is accurate.
On Reddit, but
well,
on Reddit,
I'm
sure if that's the
I'm talking about.
That.
I mean, is this information
I'm not looking for anyone
correct?
to prove or disprove my claims, but it's
you called the show.
A lot of information that I've been given. Right, I know. I mean, it's just something I kind of want to get off my chest. It's not something I'm been looking for someone to prove or disprove. I'm sure
Well, but I guess all I'm hearing is that you had an experience and you believe it's a God, and he told you about the origins of the universe, but we don't know if what it told you was accurate, and we don't really know why you believe that the event or the feeling or the experience that you have is divine in nature. I don't even know what that would mean, but I'm not getting any clearer sense of it.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what divine even means myself. I mean, I think I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the word divine means, to be honest. But I believe that my experience is real because I experienced it.
Well, I don't doubt that you had an experience. Let me just make sure that I'm clear on that point. You say you felt something or you experienced something, and I don't doubt that you had the experience. I just don't know how you came to the conclusion regarding the origins of it being a divine being.
Right. Well, I haven't even really been able to explain the entire origin. I mean, it's pretty complicated just because of how paradoxical. I mean, there's more than one universe. There's just there's more than this one universe. There's more than the creation that's described in Genesis. An existence prior to that.
I would maybe check. Like I said, I would kind of write down what this God is telling you about universal origins, and I would just run it by somebody who studies this to see what they say. I mean, it might lend validity to what you're saying. You could be like writing these formulas, and get things you don't even understand, and they could write back and say, "This is brilliant. You just solved a big problem in physics. Thank your God for us." I mean,
it all goes back to the whole multiverse theory. The Big Bang. Like the Big Bang is actually like a future event that creates.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that you don't know, but I know from my experience. I mean, that's the only
but I'm not sure you do know because I'm saying you think this.
I sure know. I mean, that's really the only claim that you can make is that you're not sure that you know. I mean, and that's true from my perspective. It's something that I do know.
I believe that you believe that you know
if you look at reality, that's really all we have is perspective.
But as far as if you can substantiate that outside of
but the question is whether or not you care whether these perspectives align with the other known facts. That's all I'm asking, I guess.
Well, I mean, from what I know from like physics, all these other theories, like they are actually all in line. Like every sort of ever heard, they all sort of line up with this. I mean,
and yet they don't support the idea that a God is behind it.
Well, you sort of have to know what a God is.
You would. I would agree.
To these different. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, God is like real. When you look at our observable universe, like God is the entire universe, everything in it that contains that universe.
So,
like
God equal. Are you saying
from like the biggest thing to the smallest thing?
So God equals the universe. If that's the case, why not just say universe?
Well, now it depends. Are you saying that you think that God is the universe, or are you saying it's the universe plus God?
Well, is the universe, and he's also what contains the universe, and he's the very smallest thing that actually makes up the smallest building blocks. Is reality itself.
I mean, I understand you're describing your thoughts here, but the problem is that we could go on and on about these thoughts, but we have no way to verify what you're saying. And so, like, we had a clip earlier where the guy said, if we have no way to verify it, then it's not valuable. And that's the thing. It's like you could describe what you think.
I think exploring the is valuable,
if we can't verify it, though, then we don't.
Discovered.
Well, I think that there's merit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. There is merit to imagining things if in fact we have a plan to go out and see if we can verify. I agree. But if we're just going to sit and start rolling with the imagination and then just start adding and adding and adding to it, because we've gone several layers here with you on this, right? We've gone from, I had an experience, I don't know if it was, I believe it was divine because I believe it was divine. It told me things about the origin of the universe, something and nothing, and then it seems to align with the multiverse. But what I'm not really getting here, I mean, this is kind of going on and on and on, but at the same time, we still have not even defined what you think is the source, and I'm not sure, based on your prior comments, that you even can. So we can't, there's no way that we can, is there a plan to verify the origin, the divine origin that you believe exists, or are we just imagining for the sake of imagining?
I mean, you really have is just to keep going down the road of progress, and eventually progress with my claims, or possibly by the time you do prove it.
Yeah. But I mean, wouldn't you rather wait to believe it until it is demonstrated to be true instead of believing it before it's demonstrated to be true?
No, I mean, because I already know that it's true.
No.
So you would prefer to believe things...
Why would I wait for someone else to prove it?
Wow, because verification matters when you're talking about whether or not a thing is true. But clearly it doesn't matter to you.
Right, and for me, it has, from a higher source,
No, I don't know. That's the whole problem. You don't seem to know where this is coming from. You're saying that it had a God signature to it?
I do know exactly where this is coming from.
You said you didn't know that you could even define what divine means. Divine is, yeah. But yet you're telling us that this source is God.
Divine, the source of God. It's just, I don't know what it means. I don't know what that definition is. That's the only thing I don't know. It's like, what it means.
Divine means
that it came from
a
nothing.
God.
Divine means...
It just means that it's coming from a God.
Then that's my claim, that it came from a God.
Right, but the point is, what is this God?
I had this conversation a little while ago. How do you prove a God is a God?
No, what is it? What are you talking about when you talk about God? What are you talking about?
A God is someone that knows something that no one else does.
So if I have a secret number in my head, that makes me a God? Like, I'm thinking of a number. Nobody knows it but me. Am I a God?
You have to know something that's true. Like
it is true.
No, of course not.
Okay. I know something that I did when I was little that nobody else knows. Am I a God?
Okay, I see where you're going with that, but no. A God would have to know something that could be else that nobody else knows.
But if no one else knows it, how do we verify it? Wait a minute. How would we verify something that a God knows that none of us know? Like, the only thing I can think of is that he would have to reveal that.
Works.
Well, but the point...
Bible prophecy, that's how Bible prophecy works, because, the events in the future that, a caveman couldn't know that, but, for some reason... and it came true.
I predict that within an hour I will be eating Indian food.
Well, I mean, you can make that happen anytime.
If I actually am eating Indian food in an hour, am I a prophet?
Well, no, because you're well within your control. I mean,
I could be hit by a car on the way there, right? I mean, I could. Anything could impede. In an hour, lots of things could happen, right?
Yeah. Well, you're missing the point, though. I mean, a caveman can't. Event that happens today is not in the control of some caveman that wrote it, thousands of years.
Right, but I don't believe that Bible prophecy is valid, right? For many reasons.
Well,
and
you don't have to believe that Bible prophecy is valid, but it is. I mean, when the Bible said
not.
Dispersed across the world and then they come back to their land, that happened, and that happened.
Yes, and a lot of people worked to make that happen.
Just a play on words.
Now, wait a minute. You just finished telling me that it's not valid if I can control it. But don't we control whether or not we reinstate the state of Israel? Didn't Britain give that land in order to do that?
Yeah, but the person that wrote it had no control over that.
No, but the people later who believed it and made it come true.
Right. It doesn't matter how it happened.
It does matter how it happened. If I'm aware of a prophecy and I do everything in my power to make that thing happen, that's not really much of a prophecy. That's me working to make it true. That's not the person who said it way back when. And the only reason it's happening is because I'm listening to them, believing it, and then forcing it to happen.
Over whether or not it happened. I mean, the whole religion.
Oh my God, no! But the believers later,
that person would have never known.
The believers later. If I say that, if I tell my friend, let's say that I tell my friend who thinks that. Wait, let's say that I have.
Hitler almost destroyed them. Like they had everything.
Okay, I'm putting you on hold. Let's say that I have a friend who greatly admires me and thinks that I have supernatural powers, and they are under like the influence of my every word, even though I don't have supernatural powers. And I tell them, you will get pregnant and have a child, and it will be a girl, and you will name her Sarah. And as a result, my friend goes out and starts, getting pregnant, and she has a boy, and then she gets pregnant again, and she has another boy, and she just keeps getting pregnant until she has a girl, and then she names her Sarah. That wasn't anything divine or magical or even weird that I did. That's simply somebody forcing what I said to come true. It's not, there's no mystery to it. Okay, I'm taking you off hold. Do you understand what I'm describing?
Well, you're describing something different.
No, it's exactly the same. If people believe it, and then it doesn't matter how much time it takes.
What happened to the Jews there? I mean, the other thing you could look at is how Jews are, because if you looked at any other nation that's been taken out of their land, their identity within like a couple. Sorry, I have a stutter. Of generations, but the Jews didn't. Like,
do you think that the Jews that are in Israel? Do you think that the Jews that are repopulating Israel are Hebrew? Are all like Hebrew, like blood lineage? Seriously, you think this? Because there are diaspora coming from over the place.
A lot of missing Jews, but I believe that there's a lot of missing Jews. I believe there's
a lot of people that identify as Jewish who are not. They're not. This is a religion. If you think that these are like the descendants of the original Hebrews,
and that came from a race of people.
Yes, but the people that are
their culture has been intact.
Okay, I'm going to have to let you go. Judaism today is not a race. I don't know how else to explain it. This is a religion, and the diaspora is like composed of people from all over the world, from all national backgrounds. I mean, there are Jews that. It's an interracial thing now. It's a religion
that came from a nation that was dispersed across.
Yes, but if you're saying that they somehow magically contained their bloodline,
and they kept their culture intact.
How can you
for them to keep their culture intact, and somehow
that's like saying that the original first century Christian.
No other nation has ever done that.
The nation you're talking about hasn't done it. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. If you think that they're just like the pre-first century Jews, you're dreaming. This is not what's going on in Israel. They're not living like there's not. It's like saying that Christianity today is just like first century Christianity. Absolutely not. That's a fantasy.
The same people that they were, but I'm saying that they kept their culture intact. Like,
no, they didn't. That's my point. They did not. You're just saying it. Just saying it doesn't make it true.
I guess, but like the Bible said that was going to happen, and then it happened.
Because
no other book can,
made it happen.
Make the prophecies.
Oh my God! I have to let you go. I can't take this anymore.